Okay guys, I wanted to talk about some basic training techniques. So the first one is luring, where you have food in your hand. You don't want it to be too accessible for them, otherwise they're just going to take it or be biting you for it. So you want to cover it with your thumb. So once you can do luring, then obviously you want to try and get off of that. That is just the basic fundamentals. But something before that, so if the luring isn't working, which sometimes it doesn't with Gabby. So what I have to do is lead pressure. I have to put a lead on her and I have to teach her to just go down just with that pressure, and then I want to slowly reduce the pressure, and this worked perfectly for her.
Good girl.
All of training is about communication. Dogs are very simple creatures. They understand through a lot of its movement, smell, sight, and basic commands. So you don't want to say too much.
Mirror down.
What's important as well, if your dog does something wrong, you've got about a 3-second window to correct them. If not, they're going to be confused when you do correct them and they won't know what you're correcting them for. Also, if they do something that you don't like, say they chew the bins or chew something they're not supposed to, I can promise you it will not work to punish them for this. I know it can be really frustrating though, so if you are feeling frustrated, it's best just to take 5 minutes just to calm down so you can think and act rationally. You just need to figure out the best thing moving forward so that won't happen again, i.e. putting your stuff away, or even putting them in a crate or a room, or shutting certain doors so they can't get to certain things. There is no punishment that works for dogs. It will just weaken your bond. But if they do something that you don't like, you can snap them out of it, and this will work perfectly. I promise you, this will help them listen to you. For Rilo, he's very slow, and something that I do is I get the back of the lead, the soft bit, and I just tap him on the bum, and honestly it snaps him out of it so perfectly, and he'll be listening to me spot on for the rest of that walk. You don't need to be too harsh. It just needs to be enough to snap them out of it and make them know that you're serious. There's so many different methods, and you shouldn't be put off by what people say online. It's all about what works for you and your dogs. Creating the right lifestyle for you. Like for me, I like to walk my dogs off leash. So one of the most important things for me to practice is recall training, and some days are going to be better than others. So you just got to constantly practice until you feel comfortable and happy with them. An important part of owning any big breed is being able to assess certain situations and handling them in the correct way. Like for me, I would never trust my dogs with small kids. Another thing is, if I'm out at a restaurant, I'll make sure that I have my foot on their lead so they can't jump up. I don't want to create any tension, as this will make them feel anxious, just enough so if they do decide to go, they won't be able to. If your dog is reactive, this could be due to lack of socialization or lack of trust. They need a strong leader. These big dogs need to be put in their place. They need a dominant person who's not afraid to show them that they're not in charge. We had a carer before who agreed to look after our dogs, knowing what breed they were, but would let them hump her and also would never walk them, and then when they got frustrated they would chew her stuff, obviously as a means to let their energy out. This is something to be very mindful of if you have any dog really. You need to release their energy, otherwise they're going to be frustrated and they're going to find their own way to let that energy out, and they're going to do stuff that is destructive, so therefore it should be your responsibility. That's just my opinion anyway, but if you are deciding on a dog, it's very important to do your research beforehand, just so you know exactly what you're getting yourself in for. I got 4 dogs here at the minute. I got Bryson, Rilo, Nero and Gabby. Gabby's boarding. Nero, we're actually fostering him now. He wasn't right for his family because his family was scared that he was going to bite their 11-year-old daughter. So we said that we're happy to foster him until we can find his forever home. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about the importance of training, like obedience training and stuff like this is so important. It helps you communicate with your dog and it helps build their confidence. As you can imagine, just like humans, if you give rewards, it is going to build confidence. Whenever you get something good for doing something good, that is a good feeling, just like dogs. If any of you are interested or have a big guarding breed, you also have to be very dominant with them. You know, this will help them a lot. They need a strong leader, otherwise they will lead, and that will just be so messy. And all dogs have different personalities as well. Bryson is very sensitive and he has like weird energy. He can relax, chill all day. It's very easy to rev him up. You can get him very excited, especially over water and stuff that he loves. All it comes down to is understanding your dog. Like Rilo, he's the Rottweiler and he is a handful, I'm not gonna lie. You know, he will constantly test you, and people have different experiences with their Rottweiler, but ever since we got him, like we got Nero here now, Nero is cheeky, but Rilo was just constant work. Even to this day, I think that Nero is better already than Rylo is. You know, Rylo will pick and choose with me whether he wants to listen or not, which obviously isn't acceptable, but it's hard work and it's quite emotionally draining. So obviously the lead comes in handy and you have to have that for him. I done an exercise earlier. We were just out and I called all of them. Well, Gabby wasn't with me, so I called Bryson, Rylo and Nero. Bryson and Nero came and Rylo looks at me, he waits until I walk to him, and then when I walk so close, he'll just carry on walking, which it's very easy to let that slide, you know, rather than him coming to me, which he should have done. So anyway, I'm sat here in the house and I've got a lead on him. I've got Nero on my feet, he's very sweet, very loyal, and I've got Rylo. He's still very young though, he's only 1 year and 5 months, so he's got plenty of time to develop, and I'm sure that things will get better over time. All that matters at the end of the day is that you're constantly putting in work to get your dogs where you need them to be. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about is I've seen a lot of videos online of people with big dogs panicking because off-leash dogs are coming near their dogs. For me, this scenario is inevitable. I live in Thailand, there's dogs that are allowed to free roam, there's strays, there's everything. Dogs pick up on energy, so if you're giving off the wrong energy, your dog will pick up on that. So if you're screaming and panicking, your dog's going to start to panic. You need to stay calm. If I freaked out and started panicking, my dogs are going to panic and there's going to be some confrontation. We're probably going to get chased down and my dogs are going to get attacked. You need to know when to stand your ground and when to walk in the opposite direction. So this is all linked to body language and stuff like that. We have about 10 different groups of dogs every day when we're walking, and we walk twice a day, so I definitely know what I'm talking about with this. Never assume bad things aren't going to happen as well. You just got to know how to handle it if it does. I see this all the time with the XR Bully. The XR Bully, I'm sure it is a really, really lovely breed, but it's big, and would I trust it around kids? No. I absolutely love dogs, but it's just about being a responsible owner and being aware that things can happen that we don't want to. So trying our best to see things coming before they happen is definitely an important thing. Okay, so I've got my last 2 tips. Number 1, make sure your dogs are behaving and on top form before you leave the house. So just make sure that they're sat and just not jumping all over the place before you let them leave anywhere. Number 2 is nutrition. If your dog's farting all the time, that is a sign that there's something wrong, so don't just laugh about it. It's important to be aware, and if you have any concerns, make sure you do some research.